So what do you think? Turned out pretty cute. It's very comfortable, very soft, and warm on a windy after rainy day. Hello and happy fall, everyone. I'm Helene and welcome to Cabin Fever Crochet. Today we're going to work up a really fun little project, a really neat stitch, one row repeat, that's it. After the setup row, works up very quick and easy. I'm going to be making a headband or ear warmers, but you can easily turn this into a cowl just by making the beginning chain longer. So you can make this as wide, as long as you want to. I'm calling it the all-terrain because to me it can resemble many different things. Done in this pumpkin tweed color, it looks like pumpkins. And if you go, say, with the green and a tonal or a tweed, it could resemble trees, hills, mountains. Oh, or say like an icy blue or a sparkly color, could look like clouds. And it's going to look different depending on the type of yarn and the shade that you choose. I recommend for best stitch definition and visual separation of the rows, go with a number 4 weight such as this or lighter. However, this can be worked in a bulky number 5, and I worked up one here, but after doing this and comparing the two side by side, you can just see how much more dense and thicker and tighter the stitches appear. So to prevent it from being too lumpy and overly bulky, try going up 1 or 2 hook sizes on the thicker yarn and see how you like that instead. I'm going to be working in the round, but this can be worked 2 ways. So if you want to work this in the straight back and forth to create your own piece, whatever you would like to do, whether you want to use this stitch for a throw blanket or a scarf or whatever you come up with, then I'm going to explain how to work the difference between the round and the straight just as we go along. And if you're curious what yarn I used, in the first one, in this number 4 tweed, this is an older yarn I have about like 5 years ago. It's a Red Heart Super Saver, a little bit softer than most. I don't know if it's still available, but I'm sure you could find something similar. And then I used a different yarn, the Red Heart Soft, which is a little bit thicker. They're both number 4, and this is in the color Dark Leaf. Work this, and then for this one, a discontinued yarn, I just had some left over, the Lion brand, if you remember that, they're Lion's Pride wool spun. And as far as supplies go, I recommend 2 stitch markers and 2 different hook sizes. Larger of the 2 for the beginning chain or foundation single crochet, and then for the rest of the body of the work, then we're going to go down. And I'm going to stay with the recommended hook size, which is an I 5.5 millimeter for the body of the work, and I'm going to be working up in Lion brand Heartland yarn. Okay, to begin, if you are working in the straight back and forth, then you make your chain multiples of 4 plus 2. So you chain 4, 4, 4, and 4 to the length that you want, and then add 2 at the end. And then all you're going to do is single crochet into the second chain from the hook, turn your work over, and work into the back bumps, the third loop, that raised bump in the center of the 2 V's on the reverse side. You single crochet into the first, and then single crochet into each stitch into the back bumps all the way across. Now for those that are going to be working in the round along with me, go ahead and make your slip knot however that you do yours, and be sure that you leave enough tail not only to weave in the ends but connect the 2 sides together. You are working still in the multiples of 4 except without the plus 2 at the end. And for the hairband, to make that long enough to fit comfortably around your head. And then I'm going to work a foundation single crochet. All right, so for working the foundation single crochet, is you're just building your chain and your single crochet in one. You begin by chaining 2, and then I am going to work the first in the back bump only, just the first one. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, and make sure that loop is nice and tall, because if it is smaller than the loop on your hook, then the inside is going to shrink inward and it's going to be real tight on that end. Okay, so now you just yarn over and pull through the first loop, and you've created your first chain. Yarn over, pull through 2, and that is your first single crochet. Now I'm going to switch hooks and finish my foundation single crochet in my main hook for the body of my work. And then I'm just going to repeat this process over and over until I get to the length when I bring the 2 ends together that are going to fit around my head comfortably. Okay, so I will do this just a couple more times. You insert your hook now through both loops of your chain. Okay. Yarn over, pull through that first loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So you've made another chain and your single crochet. And now if you look, turn it over, you can see those 2 loops that create the V shape. That is your chain. So you're going to go through again both of those loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first, there's another chain, yarn over, pull through 2, there's your single crochet. Alright, so just keep doing this over and over and over again. Okay, well, I will see you at the end, show you how we connect, and then we will carry on together. I'm back at the end of my foundation single crochets. Alright, make sure that your working yarn is on the outside, and what we are going to do is turn this, keeping your loop up on the top, but when you turn, you want the tail end to be on the bottom. So this is the inside, the wrong side is now facing you, and make sure that your work is smooth, it's flat, there are no twists in it, and one end to the other is all facing in this same direction. Then you take the 2 ends and you bring them together. And then if you are going to change colors, insert your hook through both loops of that very first single crochet. Grab your second color and pull it through both loops and the loop on your hook. Okay. I like to leave plenty of tail to sew in my ends. I'm going to cut my first yarn and I'm going to make a square knot to secure, left over right, right over left. If you are working back and forth in the row, chain 1 and turn. If you're working in the round, you're going to chain 1, single crochet into that very first stitch, and into the next stitch we're going to create a shell. You're going to single crochet, chain 2, and place 2 double crochets into that same stitch. Now we're going to skip 2 single crochets, single crochet into the next, and into the next we're going to make another shell, single crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets. That is going to be our repeat all the way around. And for those working in a row back and forth, when you get to the end in your last stitch, you will place 1 single crochet. All right, skip 2, single crochet into the next, work a shell, single crochet, 2 chains, 2 double crochets. Skip 2, single crochet into the next, work a shell, single crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. That is your repeat all the way around. Go ahead, carry on, come all the way back around and stop before the last 6 stitches. We'll work our last shell together and I'll show you how we connect. Alright, I'm back around at the end of our beginning setup row for the pattern, and then we will begin row 1, our 1 row repeat, which we will do over and over and over. Okay, we're going to complete our next shell. We're going to skip the next 2, single crochet into the next, shell into the next, okay, we're going to skip the last 2, and now we're going to slip stitch in our beginning single crochet. Both options you're going to chain 1 and turn, and we are going to work into the first single crochet, and we're going to be turning in the round because this is how we get the texture on both sides and the overlapping effect. Okay, we're going to single crochet in the first, and because now we are working on the reverse side in the round, go straight down from the loop on your hook and the chain 1, and it's down in this stitch just ever so slightly to the right of it. That is our first single crochet, and our second single crochet is right here to the left. This is going to be a smaller stitch, but everything will fit in there. Okay, go ahead and start with your first single crochet, and now make a single crochet into this very next stitch through both loops, and then we will complete our shell, chain 2 and 2 double crochets all into that stitch. Now we're going to jump over to the next set of our 2 single crochets. So we are skipping these 2 double crochets, the chain 2s, and then now here's the first single and the second single. So there will always be those 2 single crochets and then the rest of our shells on either side. And if you need to, you can just separate that apart a little bit to see them. Single crochet into the first, and then into the second, work your shell. Single crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets. I just wanted to spend a little extra time so you have the visuals of where the placement of your stitches are. Now at the beginning, this is a good spot to place a stitch marker because there is not a huge height difference, and once you start going around and around and around and kind of get on that rhythm, to me it's easy to miss the connection. So now, carrying on, again we're going to skip over to the 2 single crochets and work our repeat. 1 single crochet into the first and a shell into the next with a single crochet, 2 chains, and 2 double crochets, just like we've been doing. And that is what you repeat all the way around. And this is our repeat round or row throughout the entire pattern. And remember that when you are working in a row back and forth, that very last stitch at the end, you place 1 single crochet. When you chain 1 and turn, you just directly work 1 single crochet into the first stitch, your shell into the next. And I will show you how to reconnect one more time. Begin that again. And then I'll leave you to just work your width or your length to your desired size. And then when we get to the end, I will show you this edging here for the other side. Okay, back around at the end of our first round or row 1 of our pattern. Okay, so to reconnect again, skip over and then slip stitch into the first single crochet. There's the second, here's the first. Sometimes that can get a little bit tucked down. Make sure you're putting it into the correct stitch. So now take a look at your stitches here. Your first single crochet where we slip stitched into now is going to become your second single crochet when we turn that around. So the first one is going to be to the right of it, right here. And if you need to, you can take that stitch marker you just pulled out for just a minute to visually mark that spot for you. Chain 1 and turn. You see, now it's over a little more to the right. Okay. Single crochet into that stitch and then single crochet back into the one to the left of it where we slip stitched into right here. Okay, and that's where you're going to work the shell. Chain 2 and your 2 double crochets. Again, you can pop that stitch marker back into the first one if you want to. And then go ahead and carry on with your pattern. Single crochet in the first single, shell into the next. So many different ways to make a shell. Isn't that amazing? Okay, well, carry on with your pattern, back and forth, back and forth. And I will see you when I get to the width that I want, and then we will do our finishing round. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here because I want to show you I have landed on the wrong side. Now we want to get back to the right side. If your last row around is on the right side, then you're all set to go for our finishing round. Okay, so either way, we're going to slip stitch to join. If you are working in the same color, if you're switching, you bring your hook through the 2 loops of your first single crochet, slip stitch to the loop on your hook, finishes that stitch, and then we're going to chain 1. And again, if you are on the wrong side, then you're going to turn to get back to the right side of your work. Now we're going to do this a little bit differently. We're going to single crochet into that first stitch, and then now we are going to make a half double crochet into the second, and now 2 single crochets into that same stitch, and then we're going to chain 2. That is our repeat. So jump over like we've been doing to the first single crochet into there, half double into the next single crochet, and into the same stitch you'll place 2 single crochets and then your chain 2, and again single crochet into the first, half double, 2 singles, and then a chain 2, and that is going to be the repeat all the way around. And I worked this several different ways, and this is what I came up with to recreate and mirror the other side. I'll meet you back around after our last modified shell, and then I'll show you how I connect to get kind of a smooth and seamless look. Okay, see you there. Okay, well, I've worked the last modified shell. I did my chain 2, and now we're going to first slip stitch into that first single crochet where we slip stitched into from the previous round. Okay, going to slip stitch there, and then now we're going to slip stitch into that very first single crochet, and if it's a little tight you can grab a smaller hook to fit that into if you want, if you need to do that. Okay, and that's that. And then cut your yarn, and what I do, instead of yarning over, making a visible knot right in front and a lump, I would cut my yarn and pull that all the way through, so then I have my tail end coming up here. Okay, and then we can just pretend this is one piece, my tail end that I've pulled through, and then use a yarn needle, and then you can bring that through to the next stitch through both loops. Just put your yarn needle through and then go to the back. Okay, yarn needles through, go into the back, start weaving in your ends, and then what I do is I make a little knot and then burying that somewhere along in here and working back one more time, and then just weave in all your other ends as usual. And then this beginning knot down at the bottom, just bring the tail across and through the stitches on the other side to join the two ends of your beginning foundation round, and tuck that down into the back and then start weaving them in. I think this is a really fun stitch. I hope you liked it and my ideas and variations and what I did with it. All right, well, take care, everyone. Stay well, be safe, have fun, and I will see you soon.